Hello, I'm Mabon.
And I'm Iestyn. Today we'll be introducing Blindside podcast. This podcast is designed for Welsh rugby enthusiasts of all ages who want a deeper understanding of the Welsh rugby game, from the grassroots side all the way up to the pro level.
During this episode, we'll be discussing and breaking down Wales' autumn campaign, going through the regions and breaking down the grassroots game in Wales. Wales started the autumn campaign facing a strong Argentina team in Cardiff. Iestyn, what's your thoughts on this game?
I don't think the game was great. We had some moments, but they ultimately had their moments more. They put a fair few points on us. I don't think team selection was up to speed. I think we could have picked a better team to start off our Autumn Nations campaign. But it wasn't terrible, wasn't up to speed, but I'd say it was all right. But
yeah, I somewhat agree with you. I think a lot of people went into this game thinking it was the beginning of a new era, obviously with Steve Tandy's first game in charge. Like you were saying, could have been better, could have been worse, I guess. But one thing I want to touch on is I was at the game personally. I'm not sure about you, but I think that's the game I've been at with Wales where that atmosphere's been the deadest. And I don't know if that's to do with the state of Welsh rugby at the moment.
I think I'd agree with you. I think it's to do with the state of Welsh rugby, like you say. All this around the WRU, I don't think is helping our fans, and I don't think it's pushing our atmosphere by any means at all. And I think maybe his likes of dropping Lewis Rees-Zammit on his first game back for Wales might have been toward this. He's one of our star players, maybe our star player, and I think his decision to drop him might have swayed our fans one way.
No, definitely. I think Welsh rugby definitely need those star boys to promote the sport, really, because we're seeing now that football, that it's starting to creep up on rugby as Wales' national sport, isn't it?
No, definitely. Moving on to the Japan game now.
Yeah, the Japan game, it's probably, I reckon it's the best game Wales have played since probably the 2023 World Cup. I know people still not happy with the score, really. Super Jared Evans coming on at the end and kicking that kick to win by a point. But I think there's definitely a lot of positives from that game. It's exactly what we needed. The boys will get a confidence boost from that.
Yeah, like you say, I was at the Japan game, and although you spoke about atmosphere in the Argentina game, I feel like the atmosphere was brilliant in the Japan game, but I also feel like that's because we got the win. I feel like it was a move in the right direction for the Welsh rugby team, and although we weren't amazing throughout the game, I'd say Japan were probably the better team. We got there in the end and we stuck together as a group, and that's what's most important, I think. Yeah,
definitely. And then moving on from the Japan game, we faced the All Blacks. On paper, probably the hardest game historically for Wales to play, with us not beating them since, I think, 1953. But I think, even though we lost, it was a step in the right direction again. We were building momentum. We were still in the game for about 50 minutes. And I think that's talking about atmosphere again, that the atmosphere in the Principality was electric in that game. Everything to do with the haka, the anthem, everything to do with the build-up. And I think that really did help propel the boys to play better, if that makes sense.
I agree. I feel like the crowd, when we were on there, we're like a 16th man for the team. I feel like we were brilliant in the game. We kept tight to the All Blacks. Top players like Tom Rogers coming out, scoring 3 tries. Not many players can say they've scored 3 tries against the All Blacks, a hat-trick. So, it's good for us. It was a very good move in the right direction to stay tight to them. I think at one point it was 24-21 to the All Blacks, and you look at that, not many teams can put up with that, and we did that. So I think it's a move in the right direction, 100%.
No, definitely. And with us losing our star man, Jack Morgan, earlier in the campaign, I think that did, it sort of forced some players to step up, if that makes sense. You mentioned Tom Rogers scoring that hat-trick. Not many players can say they've scored a hat-trick against the All Blacks, like you said. But yeah, players like Tom Rogers, Davey Lake, Adam Wainwright, in that game, I think they definitely stepped up and showed their capabilities to their full potential.
Yeah, I think Davey Lake stepped up massively, losing out on Jack Morgan. I feel like you could see his passion and his wanting to play for the shirt against the All Blacks, especially when they zoomed the camera in on him. And I feel like it's important to have those players in the squad because we are a young side, we're developing. But again, it's good to get those young players developing against the teams like the All Blacks, Argentina, South Africa, like the teams we played throughout the campaign, because it grows then toward the World Cup.
Definitely. Finally, the Springboks. A game that some people might have said shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I'd agree with you in the fact don't think it should have happened. We had too many players go back to their clubs. We were playing a B team against the best team in the world. What do you expect, sort of thing? 73 wasn't a nice way to go out and end our autumn campaign, but it is what it is. You only get better throughout playing the best teams, and I think it's good for those young players that they've played against a Springboks team like that.
Definitely, yeah. I think the only thing I'm concerned about is it and doing all the good work this campaign has done in a way. Going off that Japan win and the good performance against the All Blacks, losing for 70 points isn't the best way to go out, as you said.
Yeah, it's not great. Personally, I agree with you. I don't think the game should have happened, but it's there.
I think it shows the state, again, it shows the state of the WRU at the moment. I think it's a bit of a money grab.
I agree. But I feel like personally overall, I feel like the Autumn Nations campaign was a good for Wales. I feel like we had the good win against Japan. We kept tight in the game with the All Blacks. No matter what happened towards the end, we did have a good game. And obviously you have the South Africa game, shouldn't have really happened. Argentina game wasn't great, but overall I take it as a good campaign for the boys personally.
Yeah, I agree with you. Moving on from one campaign to another, something that's just happened this week is the World Cup draw.
Yeah, so we are placing a pool with England, Zimbabwe and Tonga. What are your thoughts on that?
To be fair, I'm a fan of the group. By the time the World Cup comes around, I think they're all winnable games. As we were just discussing, I think coming off from this autumn, I think we can build up towards this World Cup. And you look at Tonga, you look at Zimbabwe, they're definitely winnable games. And England, I don't think any Welsh person does not want to put in the same group as England, because it's one of those games where everyone gets up for it.
Yeah, I feel like looking at Pot A, I feel like England were probably the best case scenario, because as much as they are an amazing side, everyone in Wales is up for that game. We can see the rivalry, the players will be up for it, the players will want it. And by the time we get to that stage, we will be a better side and we will be able to put up a fight with them no matter how good they are. Also, I feel like Tonga probably wasn't one of the better teams to get in the Pot C. They are a tough side, they're a good rugby team, but I feel like with the players we got, talent we got, coach we got, new coach, we can put a number on them. And the same with Zimbabwe as well.
Yeah, you look at the young players that are coming through now, Dan Edwards, Max Llewellyn, Blair Murray. By the time the World Cup comes around, I think they'll be well-established, great players. Yeah. As you were saying, Tonga might be a tough game. They're a big physical side, but something we might struggle with. But I think with the right tactics and the right game plan, we can definitely get out of the group.
Yeah, like you say, Dan Edwards, obviously he's a young 10. We're a young side in general, but I feel like by the time we play more games and by the World Cup, we will have developed and our young players will grow more experience. And Dan Edwards is currently shining as a young 10, so imagine what he could be doing by the time the World Cup comes.
Oh, definitely. He can definitely grow into a world-class 10, I reckon.
Yeah. He can lead our team 100% and he can be the Wales main man, personally, I feel like. Moving on from the Autumn Nations, we've decided to pick out our team of the autumn. Who would be in your front row?
That's right, yeah. When it comes to front row, I don't think you can look past the South African front row. I know it might be a boring pick, but their intensity and their scrum rate, it's through the roof. It's so high compared to the other nations. So I don't think you can look past the South African front row.
No, definitely, I'd agree with you. Going into the locks for me, I feel like Ty Burn is a massive one. I feel like he's a very well-rounded leader for Ireland. He was the leader for the Lions, like we saw. So he'd be definitely in my locks. And there's also Maro Itoje. I feel like connecting to Ty Burn, he's also a massive leader for England. He's a big face of world rugby, captain of the Lions. So those would be my two locks, Ty Burn, Maro Itoje.
Moving on to the back row. I know his autumn was cut short and I might be a bit biased, but when it comes to the flanker, I can't look past Jack Morgan. He's been immense for the last couple of years for Wales, proving that on the Lions though as well, and captain of the Ospreys. His intensity in the game, and he properly leads by example. So I'd say he'd be my pick in the back row.
Scrum half, for me, it's Cam Roigard. I feel like New Zealand are a dominant force. He's a big show in that. He's always quick to rucks, quick in getting the ball out. He's a good scrum half. Definitely one of the best in world rugby for me. So he would be my pick for the team of the autumn.
So number 10, probably what some people consider to be the hardest and most important position on the pitch, the playmaker, if you like. And this again might be a boring pick, but I can't look past Beauden Barrett. He's been on the block for years now, and he's still performing at such a high level. He provides quick ball to his players. He's got every aspect of the game: his hands, his kicking, his overall his mindset going into a rugby game. It's definitely of a world class athlete.
No, I completely agree with you. I think Beauden's world class, one of the best of all time, best to ever do it for me. Going into the centres, my pick of the two would be Hugh Jones. I feel like he's shown himself very well in the Autumn Nations. He's a well-rounded 13. He's good defensively, makes a lot of tackles for that Scottish backline, but also helps them going forward. His centre partnership with Sione Tuipulotu is like no other. It's one of the best centre partnerships in world rugby for me. But Hugh Jones is my pick of the two.
That's a very good pick. I agree with you. The wingers. If I had to pick one, not even based on his performance here, but based on how much he shocked me, Louis Samet. I don't think I'll be alone in saying I didn't expect him to come back so quickly and to the standard he did. His pace is still there, his ball skills are still there, he can kick. He's got a few tries to show for it. He's a clinical finisher, showing it, scored in some tries in the corner. He himself said in an interview that he's quicker and stronger than ever before, and I don't blame him for saying that.
Yeah,
I think
it shows. I think it definitely shows. He was a big helping hand to Wales, and it's nice to have him back. He's such a good player. But I think we've got to give a special mention to Louis Biabiri, the France winger. I think he's amazing. He's sharp. Obviously up there for World Rugby Player of the Year. Missed out in the end, but I feel like he was a very good candidate and
definitely.
maybe should have won the award.
Fullbacks. Tough one. There's been many standouts, but I'd probably say Damien McKenzie, the smiling assassin. I think he's been unlucky the last couple of years. He's been overshadowed by the likes of Barrett, Smith, and more. But I think in this campaign, he really shown his colours. I always knew that he was world class, but I think he did prove to everyone that he's definitely worth starting for New Zealand, if that makes sense.
For me, I go against McKenzie. I personally go with Damien Valemza. I feel like he's unbelievable. He's a really good fullback. He's proved himself. He's amazing under the high ball, and he's very consistent as a player, and I feel like he showed that again this autumn. And being able to watch him in person when I went to watch Wales vs South Africa, you can see his class. He's unbelievable. So for me, it'd be Damien Valemza.
I can't disagree with that either. I think that's a fair choice.
Moving on from the international game and into the league, the URC, Ospreys had a sensational performance over the weekend. What was your thoughts on the game?
Well, as a biased Ospreys supporter, I was very happy this weekend. Going into the game, we knew Connacht was going to be a hard game, and they proved that they were a world-class side by half-time. Going in 21-0 half-time wasn't the best feeling, but to turn that around, to win the game 24-21, keep Connacht pointless in the second half, and come back with that amount of points. I can't see any Ospreys supporter complaining. It's not been the best season for us, but to get that win in Europe, it means the world. It was one of the best performances I've seen in years. Yeah,
it shows real character from the Ospreys boys, 100%. My standout pick over the weekend was the Scarlets game. Losing out narrowly 16-17 to a good Bristol side. But the Scarlets brought 7,000 fans down to Bristol, which is massive. It shows their support and it shows they want to follow and back their team. I feel like they were unlucky to miss out. Obviously, Zamet scoring against the Welsh side, it's not nice to see. But it was a close game. The Scarlets showed really good character to be tight in the game with Bristol there, but obviously lost out narrowly in the end. Touching on earlier, I spoke about 7,000 fans going down from the Scarlets to the Bristol game. Do you think that's a good enough case to knock at them as a region?
That's an interesting question. I reckon when you look at the Scarlets as a whole, they're one of the most historic teams in Wales, even before the Scarlets. I mean, Llanelli, one of the most historic teams in Wales, one of the most successful, and probably at the moment have got the best following, including facilities as well. Obviously, Parc Scarlets being a world-class rugby ground for the standard. So it's a yes, but saying that, I'm not sure which region we would cut. If I had to choose one, it'd probably be the Dragons.
I definitely agree with you there. I feel like the Dragons almost are the least supported. They haven't got the greatest side. So for me, it would be the Dragons. I feel like each other team has a case there to keep their place more than the Dragons do. Obviously, Cardiff being the capital, Cardiff Arms Park, they're currently second in the URC. I feel like they got the best case out of the 4 teams, and I feel like Scarlets and Ospreys follow close after that. But I don't feel like the Dragons have a good enough case to not be cut, personally.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with you there. You look at the Ospreys; they're the most successful Welsh team in the modern era. Scarlets, as I said, got the best following, and the history behind it, Cardiff being the capital and also being historic. I don't think Dragons haven't really got the best historical background to back them up. They haven't really won anything, and you look at Rhodri Parade; it's probably the worst ground / facility out of all 4. So I'd say it'd have to be the Dragons. And people are discussing about merging the Scarlets and the Ospreys, and I cannot see that working. I'd say that the Scarlets and the Ospreys have probably got the biggest rivalry in Wales. Obviously, only been 12 miles apart, so that local derby, they're all fierce, and I just cannot see both of the teams merging together.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I feel like if you put it in different perspectives for different sports, or even rugby in itself, putting 2 teams together that have such a rivalry and are so close to each other, it doesn't make any sense. You've got to think of the bigger picture. You've got to think what will happen between the fans, what will happen between the players and the coaches. It's not an idea for me. I don't feel like it's the right thing to do. I feel like the Scarlets and Ospreys, like you said, are 2 historically good teams. They're 2 sides with good players, good coaches, good facilities. They shouldn't have to combine. I feel like the Dragons aren't up to their standards and therefore should be cut out of the Welsh rugby region.
Moving on to the lower leagues within Wales, we're briefly going to touch on some news that happened over the weekend, some fixtures, some news, some results. Starting off with some sad news about Penarth RFC. Their clubhouse burning down to the ground, obviously something no one likes to see.
No, it's awful. They're a big rugby side in Cardiff, South Wales more. But playing against Penarth over the years, from playing for a South Wales side, they're a good team. They always have been. They have a good reputation, and they did have a good clubhouse. And it's just something you hate to see. It's not nice for any players or coaches or any people who've been with that club over the years. And all our thoughts on the podcast go out to them, the players and coaches and fans of the Penarth RFC.
Definitely, and we hope that they can recover quickly and get back to winning ways.
Yeah.
Touching on the Super Rugby Cymru League, RGC came down to the capital this weekend to face Cardiff RFC at the Arms Park. RGC haven't won in the Cardiff Arms Park in the domestic league since 2018. Well, that was until this weekend, with them victorious against Cardiff this weekend. It was a great performance. I was actually at the game. With David Thirsk, a local Carnarvon boy where I'm from, captain the side. So great win against Cardiff. And I think that RGC, they're sometimes overlooked and maybe underestimated when it comes to Welsh teams. Obviously, being the only team in North Wales, they, in a way, I reckon they're underestimated. So it's great to prove people wrong with a great win in the capital.
No, definitely. I feel like being the only team in North Wales, it's amazing to come down to the capital where people might shy you away. People might not think, they might think, we're just going to beat these. But to be fair to RGC, it's a really good result, and great to get a win down in the capital on the Cardiff Arms Park, definitely. Moving along to the grassroots side, my personal team, St Albans RFC, they had a couple of great results this weekend. Firstly, the youth played in the Youth National Cup, Youth National Welsh Cup. They beat out Brecon in what was an amazing quarter-final, 45-7. Moving on to the last 4, the semi-finals. To win a competition like that, it would be huge for a small club like St Albans. The boys showed great character and and scored a lot of points. And Brecon are a good side, they're not to be shadowed upon, and we put out a good performance, winning 45-7. Moving on to the men's sides, they played at Llanrymney's new ground in a local derby against Llanrymney RFC, winning 21-16. So it's a great game. It's great to win in such a local derby and a good rivalry, and to play on a new ground and go out and beat them on their home pitch. It's an amazing show for the St Albans boys.
So it's always great to see that the grassroots game is still thriving in Wales. Some people say it's dead, but it's great to see that the winning spirit is still there.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like grassroots is important. Not all players are going to make it pro. Not all players are going to play at amazing levels, but everyone deserves to have a chance and everyone deserves to enjoy rugby in their lives. And I feel like the grassroots game is some of the best moments of your life, so they're definitely out there to enjoy.
Exactly. It's in a way, it's the beating heart of rugby in Wales, isn't it? Without grassroots, we wouldn't have these world-class players. To
finish off the podcast, I'm going to introduce you to a game called This or That. This or That will be you compare two Welsh legends and you pick who you thought was the better player or who you prefer as a player.
Okay, yeah, I like it.
First off, Josh Adams or George North?
George North, it's got to be his legendary status. Josh Adams is a good player, but nothing on George North.
Okay, George North or Liam Williams?
Again, George North. Liam Williams, great player, legend of the game, but George North.
George North or Lee Halfpenny?
Oh, that's a tough one. Again, I'd probably go George North, more so to do with how young he broke out, and obviously both of them being Lions, but my choice would be George North again.
Okay, George North or Jonathan Davis, Foxy?
Ooh. I would go Foxy, simply because he's one of my favourite players. His defensive work, everything, he's world-class 13 in his day, so yeah, Foxy.
Okay, battle of the centres for you, Jonathan Davis or Jamie Roberts?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Obviously, with them being a partnership over 50 caps, again, I'd say Foxy, just on personal preference. He's one of my favourite players.
Definitely, I agree. Foxy or Dan Biggar?
Dan Biggar. I support the Ospreys, so grew up watching, idolising his playing style, so Dan Biggar. Dan
Biggar or Talupi Faletau?
Ooh, that's a tough one. With Faletau being obviously a forward. I'd say Faletau, just for his dedication to the game and whether I think he's one of those players that never has a bad game, so Faletau.
Okay, moving on to another forward. We'll go Talupi Faletau or Ken Owens?
Love Ken Owens, but still Faletau.
Faletau or Adam Jones?
Again, Adam Jones, legend of the game, but I'd say Faletau just for his commitment to Wales.
Bit of a tough one here, but Faletau or Alan Wynne?
Oh, I'm going to have to go Alan Wynne. Obviously, legend of the game, most capped player of all time. Lions captain, so yeah.
Couldn't disagree with you there. And to finish it off, last one, Alan Wynne-Jones or Gareth Edwards?
You got me. Didn't screw half myself. It's got to be Gareth Edwards. I think he's probably he is one of the greatest players to ever play the game. So yeah, can't look at any further than Gareth Edwards. And that concludes the first episode of our podcast. We hope you enjoyed.
And any suggestions or any points you want us to talk about in our future episodes, just drop them down below. We're all ears to any suggestions, and we'd love to talk about new points of Welsh rugby. Thank you.
Thanks.